Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to another exciting community race. It is the Pink Puff League, and we have, we're not quite sure seed. We have five objectives here with Iridia start. My name's Vitasia, and I'm on the mic today with making his first appearance on the microphone, Joker Mage. Welcome to the microphone, and welcome to the scene.
Thanks. It's great being here. And as you said, the Pink Puffs today are exploring the greater mysteries of the randomizer in a mystery seed. And this looks like it's going to be an interesting one. There's a very good chance that it's require all, but there is also a possibility that there may only be 4 required. But we'll have to see when we get there.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, especially because we rolled 2 completely free objectives right out of the gate with Rescue the Hostage at Mount Hops and Complete Mount Ordeals available to us with nothing really right out of the gate. So depending on how many objectives we do have to complete, if it's all of them, we have that defeat Golbez, which Golbez could be hiding anywhere. Trade away the Pinktail. Of course, the Pinktail could be anywhere. Sid, who knows what'll happen there. So it could be a little bit of anything.
Yeah, now just imagine that on Hobbs you have Golbez and Sid fighting.
My brain just froze there. Just Golbez, Sid, and doing that Hobbs. So 3 of the 5 objectives just immediately. What's the weighting? I know that you have the weights pulled up in this mystery seed. What's the weighting of only 3 of 5 objectives needing to be done?
Well, the minimum is 4, and 4's not very likely, so it's probably going to be all 5.
We can dream, though, can't we?
I mean, the other possibility is that a lot of stuff is hidden on the moon. K-Moon has a 75% chance of being on. K-Summon is 2 and 3 chance, so there's plenty of opportunities for this to be a lot ruder than it seems at first glance.
It's true. There's a lot of other things that are still a mystery in this seed, and of course, the Pink Puffs have been really kind of fun to watch this season. Of course, the Pink Puff League, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's not beginner level, but it is very beginner friendly speedrun basics for folks who have never done Free Enterprise before. Slowly being introduced to the different flags that can be out there, the different iterations of Free Enterprise that could possibly be out there, and really just get you introduced to not only speedrunning in general, but the Free Enterprise flag set as well. With that, our 2 restreamers are off.
And we got Rydia and Tella to start with Dark Imps and a Pan right away, so that may prompt some of them to fade for Bull for a bit, see if they can get underground first.
Pan start is always interesting because it does, from a router's relish sort of perspective, make you want to dodge for Bull, see if you can get all 3 of those checks in at once. But keep in mind, we still don't know if it's just the K main locations. We still don't know if K trap, K summon, K moon. We don't know where all of our key item objectives is. We just have to figure it out kind of as best we can.
I do believe that free key items are on, so Bedward should have something, if I remember correctly. And it looks like both of them are going to try to test out some of the glitches or just see what's around Baron.
Yep, looks like a very standard shop there. Nothing out of the ordinary in that particular shop. Of course, nothing that we're seeing in these locations. Oh, but that's a foo with a crystal helm and a blizzard spear located in the chest. So we're getting a little bit more information with the treasury. But that foo is going to be big, isn't it?
Yeah, and there is only a 10% chance of vanilla foo, but it is a possibility, and that could just make things even more bonkers than they already are.
All right, we have Lord Goober who's setting up a duplication glitch right now to see if the dupe glitch is turned on. And with that single Lilith rod back on Tello, we do find the dupe glitch is not turned on. So that is something worthwhile. And we are off to Troya to check that bedward spot.
Yeah, it'd be really great to see Earth Crystal here just to immediately go into the treasury, but there's a lot of things like Magma Key or Hook that could be very useful that he could be holding. And we also have Falgren checking out Watery Pass, and there are free characters, and that is Cecil.
Well, you commentator cursed it or blessed it with that bedward with the Earth Crystal, so we are immediately going to be turning in that treasury, kind of regardless of anything. Power Shirt, by the way, in the Watery Pass, which is absolutely fantastic. That we're just getting everything immediately to us. A curse string as well available for Lord Goober in the Pauper's Treasury.
Yeah, and the chests, I think there was a very slight chance of wild, but most likely we're looking at T Standard, T Wildish, or T Pro. I don't know the exact odds for finding Power Shirt and Watery Pass, but it is a very early, easy power. And we'll have to see if there's going to be convergence or if Falgren's going to just keep looting out other places and skip the free key item.
I see a Black Shirt, I see a Leviathan, I see Bahamut. Riddy is online. Riddy is good to go.
Yeah, that's a lot of early power, and that can be applied to that Baron Inn to get Fu, which is even more power.
Absolutely. There were a couple treasure chests that, are already open. It feels like there's a lot of treasure chests. I think we're talking, a fill of 60 to 70% or so.
Yeah, the minimum setting in the weights was for 70%, but it's also very likely that somewhere like 70, 80, or 90.
Yeah, so that Bahamut and the Black Shirt is going to do a lot of work. All you need is just a few levels on that Rydia, and she becomes a bit of a powerhouse very early on as we go through here. Interesting note, and I'm glad that chat pointed out, we did see some Artemis arrows as well in that treasury, and Artemis arrows are a T7 item. That is a very high-powered item. So that does give us some indication that we're up to T7 in at least the treasury and the high value spots.
Yeah, that's a very good find. And I'm wondering, with that Tella in the start, do you think there's going to be any consideration for D-Machine grinding? Because one of the more interesting possibilities is a 25% chance of Vanilla Giant to surprise anyone who tries that.
I think that percentage chance is exactly why we're not going to see it specifically. Tella does incentivize the D-Machine grind, but as we've seen in a lot of the other community clubs, grinding is kind of optional, for lack of a better term. You can get up to Z levels and power relatively easy without a dedicated grind, particularly when you have someone as powerful as Cecil that's fully unlocked. We are absolutely going to be doing Mountain Ordeals because that is an objective as well. So I kind of doubt that we're going to see that right at the moment.
Yeah, with Cecil and Tella in your party, Ordeals is a no-brainer. You're going to want to be doing that. And it's, 3 more boss checks to try and find that Golbez and a key item check at the end, which could be the Pink Tail or the Hook.
So the question I have for you then, Joker Mage, you are one of these runners, and it does look like Lord Goober is going to be diving a little bit deeper. You have 4 characters that have been available to us. We did see a Porum as well available in Damsian, Dark Knight Cecil, a level 1 Rydia, and then a Tella. Where do you get your levels to really get this seed rolling? We haven't really seen a whole lot of other J-Atoms be able to slingshot us, for example, from a Mount Hobbs or from an Antlion. Where do you go from here?
like I'm relatively inexperienced at this, but I would just normally go to Hobbs. It's an objective. It's got some decent experience. As long as the boss isn't too rude, you can keep everyone alive, and you can see who that extra character is and possibly make use of them too. But it's definitely like with all that power we saw in the treasury, you really want to get levels on Rydia as quickly as possible. And so any place that's fairly safe so you can keep her up and running and has a good return with the experience is where you want to be.
Oh, and that Fusoya was available as a free character spot along with a Rosa in Mysidia. And limited 4 character spots here. So we have to dismiss someone and yes, take that Lilith rod, absolutely. So limit 4 characters. Rosa is just a flat upgrade over the Porum. Just take her.
Yeah, and another thing that we can point out is that the no dupes flag only has 30% chance of being on, so you could have double Fu here if you go do Baron In.
That kind of makes the rest of the scene fairly trivial at that point. Dupe Fu is just absolutely a powerhouse.
And I don't know if we saw the magic that Fu has is to determine. I mean, it's most likely he's not vanilla, but I still haven't seen. Oh no, he's definitely not vanilla, so we don't have to worry about being overpowered, just slightly overpowered.
I'm looking through as Lord Gooper is doing a little bit of selling of everything right now. His party is going to be pretty decked out. He's already got a power shirt and defense swords for that Cecil. Looking very, very strong. Crystal helm as well if he so desires it. Black shirt and Bahamut for his Rydia. Certainly looking like we have all the equipment we need really to progress through the scene pretty quickly. Not a whole lot of J items, though. I don't know if J items are restricted. There's another Cecil, though, up on Mount Hobbs with Asura.
Yeah, so how do you feel about going to the Z fight with 2 Cecils and 2 Fus?
I would be okay with that. Yes. Of course, now that we know that we have, duplicates are available and you can have duplicate Cecils, that means that we're not going to find a single Holy Sword in the entire game, as the meme suggests.
Yeah, and Fulgrim's making good use of those vampires to try and get through this Asura fight. Of course, Asura is just going to keep healing to response, but it still shouldn't be too rough. And it looks like Fulgrim, not checking Treasury, has decided to let Rydia be an anchor for this run.
Well, I think with all the counter that Asura is doing, I don't know if it's necessarily worth it to try to keep her up, because she'll just, she'll get knocked down, she'll get up again. You think you're never going to keep her down, but then she'll continually get knocked down. Goober, in the meanwhile, does take the free summon and says, yes, I will take a free Sylph summon for our Rydia. That's a pretty high roll there. I love seeing that. Interesting pull there on Lord Goober's side, where a black sword is pulled for that Dark Knight Cecil. Dark Knight Cecil, Cecil is usually pretty worthless until you get to Mammoth Deals and turn him into a paladin. The black sword, though, makes him at least reasonably viable for the early game. And Lord Goober, just like Fulgrim, has opted not to get duplicate Cecil. That is it's a decision to be made for sure. One that I don't necessarily disagree with. Cecil does require quite a bit of equipment really to get going. And we've only found a single defense sword. I mean, we do have an Ogre Axe as well, so that's something, but it would dedicate some extra time to loot to make sure that we had two Cecils who could do enough damage at that point in time. So, an interesting development there.
Yeah, and we're going to. It looks like Fallgran's also going to go ahead and check what's going on at Fagul. Not going to wait and see if he can get underground before turning into the pan.
Interesting note here. Fallgran did keep Rydia down during that Asura fight. Lord Goober managed to keep Rydia alive to get those levels. Has 66 MP now, only requires 60 MP to cast Bahamut. That means that Rydia is fully online and ready to blarg all over this battlefield.
Yeah, and that's going to be. I think that's going to be a very huge advantage for Goober at this point. Just being able to take out a lot of the Series 0 stuff just by blarging.
Yeah, it's very easy. There's not a whole lot of power, and Rydia, doing a one-shot blarg is going to be nice second staff, by the way. Is certainly going to be set up incredibly well as we're going through here, because the blarg will be able to take out quite a bit until your Foo's online to be able to quake or nuke your way through everything. So that should be great. Hail Tim though at Fagul defense.
Yeah, Rosa with aim can also make sure that she won't trigger the doot, but and there's plenty of magic power here, so really the only one who's going to trigger the slow counter is probably Cecil.
And of course, Fallgran realizing, okay, you use a Grimoire, that's fine, but if it's an elemental attack, Pale Dim does absorb elements, and then it will also have a counterattack. Now, the absorbing elements is fine. Normally for summons, Pale Dim will also counterattack with a Quake to really kind of wipe out the party. So Fallgran with a wise reset and says, let's give this another shot.
Yeah, using summons on lunar bosses is a bit of a risk. There's certain times where you can take advantage of that, like reflecting the Mega Nuke from Wyvern, but generally it's not always the best option. And we do have Adamant from the Antlion Cave that was behind Karate Man. And Lord Goober's decided to warp out to keep that, and I don't know if we haven't seen Legend Sword yet, but that is a third key item.
It is nice to see, and it does, you see this many key items in only the key item checks. We have not had a Zonk yet. This does tend to lend itself to maybe not having K-Moon or K-Summon turned on, because so far, no Zonks. That's giving my blackened heart a little bit of hope here.
Yeah, it does really, at the very least, we haven't seen anything yet. There's still plenty to go, though. So we'll keep our eyes peeled, but it is pretty good news that if it's only K-Main, at least good news for the runners, maybe not for the audience.
We always like to see them suffer, after all. Meanwhile, Lord Goober does start the Pale Dim fight. Fallgran has bounced off this twice. I think Lord Goober is going to have a significantly easier time because Bahamut.
Yeah, even though it's a summon, it's an extremely powerful one, especially at this spot. It's not going to live long enough to counter, probably.
No, absolutely not. This should, as long as you have the Black Shirt equipped, this should one-shot and absolutely Pale Dim does go down. That is going to be pretty significant, especially after Fallgran bounced off of that twice in this head-to-head race. Sometimes it's just about making incremental progress, one step at a time. Certainly, Lord Goober has the edge at the moment, and is rewarded with. Oh, okay.
Another actual key item and not a Zonk. So it is looking more and more K main only.
Game A only. I mean, both. Okay, so both runners do have rescue the hostage of Mount Hops. Now we say K main only, but let's be a little bit realistic. I mean, that does. We were always going to go to Mount Hobbs. That does, minimize the places that the pigtail could be. But in terms of getting Sid and defeating Golbez, those are not tied to necessarily to key item locations. We could still be on a moon hunt. That has not been eliminated yet.
Yeah, there's still plenty of opportunity, so we can hold out hope for the audience to have an enjoyable watch through. And there's Palom on Ordeal's free spot. We see if Lord Garuda says no thanks, I already have Black Mage.
When you have Rydia with Bahamut, you're fine. Quake Kid is superfluous at this point.
In Fall Ground, it looks like he had gotten through the Antlion Cave, I believe.
Yep, this is the Antlion Cave, so it should be the Adamant Rock.
And we've got CPU at Ordeal's 1, the Mylon and Friends spot.
Yeah, we do have a Blarg queued up. I think this is going to one-shot it.
Yeah, this is not normally a very powerful spot for CPU, I don't think. Especially when you got Bahamut. So, again, this is where I think Fallgrands is about to go and find out that the answers were in Toria the entire time.
That's why on these mystery seeds, if you do not know if Edward is available or not, it's always a worthwhile check to go over here and check. In this particular seed, it was gangbusters, because that Earth Crystal led to just summon percent right there.
And we still have Tower of Zot available because of that, and that's 2 bosses, 2 characters, a key item, and a flame dog.
Yeah, that is a very attractive location. After we finish Mount Ordeals, I imagine we'll be checking, Baron in, because we do have the Baron key as well for a bit of a combo there, and it's a little bit lower level than doing Tower of Zot as well.
The other advantage,
again a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was just going to add the other advantage for Zot. If you did pick up Roses, that's where she gets her exit spell.
True, absolutely. All right, Fallgran is now looting everything and says, yes, please. I will take every bit of this. And this treasury is actually really well attuned to the party, because not only is it all the summons that you need, but Power Shirt, Defense Sword for your Cecil eventually to become, fully online, a Protect Ring, Ninja Hat. We joked earlier that it was, summon out of 10, but there's some pretty good Cecil stuff there as well.
And I missed the second boss on Ordeals. Did you happen to catch it?
It was Officer Soldier, so it was fast. And Magma Key, okay. Well, that's our way into the underground.
And that's several more checks that's going to be available with that starting pan, too.
I think it's great that we already have the Magma Key as well, but that's not going to dissuade me from doing Tower of Zot. I think with that Sid and defeat Golbez objectives, it's a key item check, and it's 2 character checks trying to find this Cecil that's out there, or the Sid that's out there that I need to find eventually anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the things that would probably prompt me to take Zot over going underground immediately. I mean, I might go underground to just quickly turn into Pan and to check the Feymarch freebie, then come back up to do Zot. It might not be the most efficient routing, but I do like having those key item checks tucked away.
Of course, the one thing we have to worry about is this, and I don't, and help me out here because you have the percentages pulled up. Is it a win game or is it a win crystal seed? Because that's up in the air as well.
I'm not sure if I caught that or if it was going to be. I think chat's saying it is crystal, so we are probably going to be having that Z fight eventually.
Okay, so that does mean that it's something to take into consideration. We're looking at a very quick jet seed where we have 2 objectives done very quickly. Sid looks like it's going to be on the table because we do have 4 spots that we can check in relative quick order. 2 in Zot, 1 on Baron, in Baron, Liberate Baron, and also 1 in the Dwarf Castle, which is readily available to us as well. So realistically speaking, we have a lot of options available to us.
Yeah, and Lord Goober's going to get the free Mysidia characters, going to find Fu and Rosa. Let's see if he'll take them and if that changes what he tries to do here.
Well, Fu is just a better teller at this point in time. Just absolutely take the Fu.
But it turns down the Rosa. And it looks like we have C buy, so any characters you throw away are not coming back.
Worthwhile information to do that.
And I was actually wondering if Goober was holding on to that Tellus because he was thinking about the, like we mentioned earlier, possibly doing a D machine grind, but maybe not since he's decided to upgrade to Fu.
Nope, and that Fu already has some pretty sizable magic. I mean, we have Exit, we have Blink, but we do have Virus and we have Meteo. So we're already looking very strong right at the moment.
I mean, who needs vanilla Fu when the Fu you have is already getting like all the good spells right away? And it looks like Goober's just going through the inventory and getting everyone equipped and set up before heading off to the next adventure. And we'll see where that is. Meanwhile, Falgrand is going through that his own ordeals.
Yeah, did take some Globe 199s there from the CPU. Summoned a Mist Dragon, I think, initially, and took out the bits, but not, of course, the main CPU, which does tend to lead to a sticky situation against the CPU.
Yeah, and he also sent Bai to the Rydia, and so all that fun summoner stuff is not really helping him. Meanwhile, we've got Calbrena on at Baron 1, and shouldn't be too long to get rid of that, especially with Fu and Rydia. And we'll take a look who's at Baron 2 shortly. And that's Leviathan. Maybe not the scariest spot for Leviathan, especially when you've already got, better answers for that.
Yeah, this is a very slow spot, and you put, if you study with Lit 3, that tends to make everything go pretty fast there.
And we also saw on Falgrand's side that Fu has already learned Warp, so throwing away the Rydia while denying the really powerful summons is not going to be a problem for testing out that Warp Lich once we get to Dwarf Castle.
And Lord Goober going with the double Fu says, I don't need Porum, I don't need Rosa, just get me all the Fus. And I tell you what, this party, double Fus, Cecil and Rydia, solid.
Now, how would you anchor this party for the Z fight?
For the Z fight directly, here's what I'm doing. Oh gosh, this is such a rough one too, because I feel like you have to. I think you lean into having 3 casters who can all cast nuke. So you're going to put that curse string on Cecil, who's going to be the one reflecting things off and then bouncing nukes off of him at that point in time.
So so we're talking turning him into a potion thrower or alchemist type.
I think until you get to Z, you don't need to worry about anchoring too much. I think, we're not going to be opening up a ton of trap chests in the Self Cave. We're not going to be overly concerned about, how fast our characters are going to be, because we're not in a position where we're like marginal power against something that out levels us by quite a bit. I think with this particular party, you have a Cecil that you back row that can do a lot of cover strats if you run into something nasty. That's a physical attacker on the moon. And I think otherwise, with that defense sword and with all the other equipment you have, you are conceding that for your Z fight, he is going to end up being your anchor and will be bouncing nukes off, but I'm not putting that curse string on him until I absolutely have to.
Yeah, and Goober is also giving us a nice look into what's going on in the castle and probably going to give a shot at liberating it. Meanwhile, Falgranz has finished ordeals, so that's another objective, and now a paladin. And I think it was Dark Imp at Baron 1.
You're absolutely right, Dark Imps. This should be pretty straightforward. Nothing too intense about it. I did see that I think we had some hourglasses in our opening kit if we're really feeling cheeky, but I think this is going to be fun.
I mean, I sometimes would also just try frogging them, and that could be a way to tell if the... I think the free bosses are just given by the weights, but if you were doing another... like a normal mystery seed where there's a possibility of Beano free, this is one where you could test that.
Talk about overkill here. Lord Goober cast 2 sets of viruses, killed one of the Dark Imps from sweeping it, so that last Dark Imp that was alive had to have like less than 50 HP, and just taking a Bahamut to the face, that was overkill prime. Oh, okay. Here we go.
We found objective 3.
It does look like we were successfully able to knock over Rydia. So, kind of know, this Golbez fight, our comedian, for that objective is readily available here. That Baron Key was from Mount Ordeals, as I recall, so doubly required Mount Ordeals right now.
I think Ordeals was the Magma Key. I think Baron Key was Fabul.
Right. Okay, thank you for correcting me.
And Falgran is checking Baron in himself now.
It is a logical play. Falgren, remember, took those 2 nasty wipes at Fabul defense, so does not know that he could make this a very efficient play in Baron, just sweeping through and getting everything done in Baron. Which makes this, it feels a little bad.
Yeah, I don't remember if either of us mentioned this or noticed, but it looks like Darkness was behind the Baron Din fight.
It is worth pointing out because that is, at minimum, another character location. Everything has been pointing to only K main up to this point in time, just because we've gotten a key item at every location, as opposed to any zonks up to this point in time. It could still be something wacky, of course, but worth pointing that out.
And we got a bard at the castle. Not our Cid, though. And I guess we're going to find out if Falgren plans on taking the second Fu. Oh, it's fine with
wow.
Fu. And
So Falgren's party is Cecil, Hallam, Fu, and who else?
and that was Twin Harp at Baron Castle, so we can go sort of route in Magnus Cave to Tower of Zot now.
It's a good combo, and with two party members that are already dead from that Golbez fight, it's a fantastic opportunity to go turn in that Twin Heart. Absolutely, because half your party's already dead for a cutscene fight that immediately gets fully revived. This is just superb routing here from Lord Goober.
Now, this is my first time on comms, but I'm under the impression that we're supposed to not talk at certain points that are immediately relevant. Is that correct?
That is, you're referring to one of a number of community memes that are out there where, there is certain things that the Free Enterprise randomizer community does that is unique to the Free Enterprise community. There's a lot of different memes out there. One of them is coming up here in the Twin Heart, where not only do we like to randomize the bosses and everything else that's out there, the harp music is randomized as well into a number of different arrangements, curated, of course, by our wonderful community. So we like to play a little game here that once DJ Spoony B starts making his way over to his harp, it is time to just sit back, pop open a cold one if that's your thing that you want to do, and enjoy the music. And we are on our way to that.
And just really quickly, chat noticed that Vanilla Traps is off, so unfortunately it's going to take a bit more work to loot some of those places, but let's go ahead and give it a listen.
And of course, that was a fleeting dream from Final Fantasy X, completing there. Beautiful music. Nobuo Uematsu does fantastic work throughout the entire Final Fantasy series. Uh, Fu's powered up with Quake with that, and we are rewarded with a tower key as well by completing that.
Still no Zonks, and it's nice to be able to get rid of that turtle whenever you can.
Yeah, we did take a wave to the face, which is an HP based attack, but certainly, that is the one spot where the mage party can be deficient a little bit because it does have very high magic defense, but a Blarg plus a significant weakness to lightning, yeah, we're fine.
And meanwhile, Falgren has been just going through Eblan Castle and taking out the trap chest to get some more power onto his party. And as expected, we are following up the Magnus with Zot, so we'll get to see what's up here. Maybe it's our Cid.
Yeah, as we mentioned, fantastic routing by Lord Goober. I don't necessarily disagree with the plan from Falgren either, because he knows that, levels do help quite a bit, and this is a fantastic location to not only get some good loot, but to get levels and maybe stumble into a holy sword for a paladin, because right now defense sword is nice. Yeah, let's face it, it's the best thing that King can equip. So, it's top 5-ish for Cecil, but man, wouldn't it be nice to draw crystals?
Well, there is also a Flame Dog check, and I don't know what the probability there is for getting Crystal Sword, but it looks like Lord Goober is going to try and pet the dog. Should not take very long. This is not usually a very hard fight, and he's pretty overpowered and can probably just throw ice spells at this thing till it goes away. Or Quake, that works too.
I mean, if I remember my Pokemon correctly, that yes, fire is weak to ground, right? That's how it works.
And unfortunately, it was only a silent staff, but it's one more thing that you can check off the list. And also, Falgren is turning in the Magnekin, going to give us our first look underground. So maybe there's some answers there that'll help him get caught up.
Yeah, I mean, so far, we do have the Golbez that we know is on Baron Throne, but otherwise, all of these other checks, they've been good checks by Lord Goober. They just haven't done anything for us. So, if the Pigtail and Cid both happen to be underground and Falgren is going there first, certainly this is the right play. I imagine there might be a pretty quick pan bonk to turn those 3 in all at once. Yeah. Or he completely ignores me and says, yeah, let's go do this Earth Crystal.
Yeah. And meanwhile, on Lord Goober's, we had the Spider-Man meme where 2 Bahamut's were pointing at each other.
And Falgren is not opening the treasure chest here. Says, I'm set. I have all the levels. I have all the equipment I need. And this seed has been very generous when it comes to the total equipment available. No holy swords, but otherwise, pretty good, all things said, with the equipment, I would say. How about you?
Yeah, this has been, like, if I was been racing this and opened up that treasury, I've been extremely happy. And there is our Cid right there at Zot. He is the one who's decided to betray whoever's hiding behind that door.
We did also get a peek of what is going to be at Dwarf 2, which is, that's going to be the Baron Guards that's going to be there. Double Cid!
It can happen. It can happen.
I sense a Doublemint Gums sponsorship coming up. Pretty please.
I mean, they do say that sometimes our worst enemy is ourselves, so it's no surprise that Cid would betray Cid.
Here's the thing, we found Cid, and we have 4 of the 5 objectives complete. That said, it is not completed. We still need to do the trade away the pigtail, so it is a 5 of 5.
Yeah, and that required 4 was a very small chance, so it's not really surprising, but it is good to know it for certain now. And Plague can be annoying if you get it at the wrong place, but I think this is fairly safe, and there's enough power that this Plague shouldn't be too much of a threat.
It's not, but you also have to be prepared for it. So now it's a matter of, can we get this life up to get our Rydia back up? Oh, wow. Clutch.
Yeah, that was cutting it very close. And I think Lord Goober's just going to be juggling life potions until he gets enough damage on that Plague to make it go away. However, Falgran is also almost at that fight, so we'll get to see how he deals with it as well. Okay, yeah, and Lord Goober is through that, so we're going to free trip back to Baron, and then probably underground, I'm guessing, at this point.
So here's the deal. We're getting ready to go underground. We need a hook and a pigtail. We have access to Dwarf Castle. We don't know if Warp Glitch is turned on or not. So we certainly have Warp for both of our parties, but we do not know if Warp Glitch is turned on or not. We have the tower key to be able to go ahead and immediately do 2 checks in the tower. We also have the Pan Bunk, which is for Lord Goober 2 checks. For Falgren is 3 checks, which is a very important check for him because it leads to the Baron key, which leads to Golbez. Plus, there's the Baymark freebie.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that Lord Goober, I think, is on 8 key items at this point. So if those checks he only needs 2 of those to hit, and he's got the 10 he needs for getting double XP. Whereas Falgran's only on 5 right now, so does have to get caught up a bit, and definitely that not being able to get through that Fubul defense has set him back a bit.
At this point, Lord Goober says, by the way, I would love to get me some extra gear as well, and is doing the checks in Fubul Castle, or not Fubul.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not sure if I caught any of the actual rewards for the trap chests. So there could be nothing here, or there could be something that he needs. Some more Artemis bows. That's a good start, at least.
I know there's at least the last one is a Bahamut summon, which we don't need, obviously. And there's no Holy Swords, which is really, I think, what we're hunting for.
And just to clarify, I meant Artemis arrows, not bows. Yeah, Lord Goober's food missed with that first attempt at stone. Probably going to do it again. Yep, and we'll see if that one hits. Or we could just Bahamut it. That works too.
When in doubt, Blarg is fine.
And again, that's just goes back to that initial check at for the free key item. Just set them both on completely different paths, especially pertaining to just what Rydia is doing for either of them.
Meantime, Falgren is the first one into the underground doing some shop checks. I like this because I think he's siren hunting, but the problem is in all the shop checks that we've seen, I've not seen any J items for sale, which tells me we might not have J items for sale.
And we did just validate to see, I think that was the electronic drafter. I didn't catch it entirely.
Yeah, it was something electrical, blah, blah, blah. I am team never check Job Dwarf because that's an inefficient check as far as I'm concerned.
We are going down Fey March now, so we'll be able to see both the free key item down there, as well as who the summon bosses are. Now, if K summon's off, it probably isn't going to be very useful since we already know where Golbez is.
That is our first Zonk in a key item location. An elixir in the rat tail location. Oh, that just opens some things up, doesn't it? Oh, crystal armor was from Zod? Oh, well. Sorry.
We also haven't seen any passes yet. Now, it is very likely that it is P key, so the pass should be at a key item spot, but it's possible that there is no pass or that there's a pass in a chest or in a shop somewhere. So we won't know until we actually encounter it or are forced to walk the LST.
It does look like Lord Goober is setting up to do things in kind of a traditional order at this point in time. Camping outside Dwarf Castle said, you know what, this is the next spot in the vanilla game. Let's go ahead and do this.
Meanwhile, Falgran did find Hourglass 2s in the Feymarch shop.
And coffins available in the dwarf shop. So I guess J items are available in shops. No sirens yet, though. Oh no, and it's Antlion. It's Antlion for Lord Goober. We didn't see anything jumping, but the middle spot always jumps, and if it's an Antlion, yeah.
I imagine this isn't going to be that rough because usually the problem with Antlion is just when it counters a lot or when it's at a really fast and hard-hitting spot.
Yeah, we have a couple of Newt casting foos and a Bahamut Radiant. This should fall over very, very quickly.
And that was Mom Bomb and DKC in the Feymarch King and Queen spot, respectively. Falgran very wisely just noping out of both those fights since they're very likely not going to lead to anything useful. It's a very outside chance that K-Summon is on at this point.
Well, we don't know K-Summon, K-Moon. K-Trap, it doesn't appear as though is on. We did, something else has got to be on, but there is Edge, who is taking Rydia's spot now for Lord Goober.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that changes, but guards here should not be rough either. You certainly got power, and even if you didn't, you could, with free bosses, you could turn them into frogs or mute them.
Quake does it too, though.
And we are going to get to see if the warp glitch is on or off very shortly. And Fulgrims is making his way through the ant mine, so he will be there shortly as well. And here's our warp glitch check. That is warp glitch. So Seal Cave is off the table, and that is the hook.
One of the two key items we need for that pink tail.
Yeah, and so Lord Goober, I think is at 10 key items now, I think. Well, let's see what this is. Maybe Sandra. Okay, that definitely 10 key items. Is only missing pink tail as far as objectives, so very close to go mode. We just don't know where that pink tail is yet. Fulgrim had to think about it for a bit, but ended up taking edge over Porum.
Really, the only two differences between the two parties now is a Rosa for a duplicate Fu.
At least as far as the party composition, but Lord Goober has completed a lot more, just key items, and fought a few more bosses. So I think his foos are fully powered up now. Yeah, that's over 1900 HP, so I think both foos are fully online at this point.
I tell you what, we've had this pan from the word go, and we're almost an hour in, and neither of our runners have bonked our monk on the head yet. I'm getting a little anxious to figure out what's at not only the two Sheila checks, but keep in mind that self spot is a summon location, so it's possible that K summon is turned on, and that would be some good guidance there.
Yeah, I think they've been distracted by like all the power they've encountered so far, and it's just kind of been on the back burner because of all the other fun stuff they've already found. It's also worth noting Fulgrim doesn't have tower keys, so might not be inclined to do a keyless tower check. So possibly going to do. All right, so it looks like Fulgrim is going to go ahead and hit Yang with the pan. And it looks like Lord Goober is right behind him.
This is the quick, logical check. I really like this particular check. Although the camping outside, that points to maybe checking some sylph traps.
He's maybe still trying to hunt down some holy swords.
Certainly possible. Meanwhile, Fulgrim is checking, and just a charm claw from that sylph. If only it were something, it were a key item check, or key item, that would have made that one a whole lot easier to swallow.
Yeah, Lord Goober is floating and is definitely just going to go and see what he can find from the trap chest. Already finding double centipede chest. And Fulgrim is now going back to Fagul to get revenge.
Yep, this is going to be sweet revenge, and we'll be putting Fulgrim on a pretty solid path here. Has the Cid, will eventually run into Golbez. Oh no! Please remember to do the Fagul defense. Fulgrim, please.
Package, and I didn't see what the other thing, it looked like maybe arrows of some kind.
Yeah, samurai arrows. So both kind of, I mean, package is at least a key item, but otherwise kind of a zonk there.
He might check package for Golbez, but that there's plenty of other places to look first, especially now that he is doing the defense and will eventually follow that chain to Baron. And we do have chat suggesting that the package character could be Fu number 3 if we just want to be absurd.
Yeah, it could be anything. Absolutely anything. But no thank you. I think I'm set. We're done. Once we found the Sid, we're done hunting for party members. We know we have max 4. And I don't know who could possibly want anything more out of their party than what we already have.
I think really a Holy Sword is the only thing that Goober's really hoping for at this point. Now, does Lord Goober go and check tower since he does have tower key?
Personally, I think that's the next logical check. Although, if you haven't done the Feymarch freebie, you go ahead and knock that one out. But after that, yes. If you have the tower key, let's go ahead and knock that out. The trap chests are super easy. You should be able to open a few of those if you're still hunting for a Holy Sword. But more importantly than that, 2 checks. You are a single key item location away from go mode. You check the easy stuff first, and then you check the efficient stuff. So
Yeah, I was just going to say, with the Warrior's chest in Feymarch, if you have a Paladin who's got enough health on him, it's not a problem at all. I guess it is a problem if you can't find it, but there's not that many left to check. And it looks like Falgran got some ninja swords from the Baron weapon shop.
Well, and I think this is another spot because, we have established up until this point in time that, trap chests likely are not turned on. K-trap is not turned on. Realistically, I think the party has enough power to get through it. I think between everything that we found, this is a party that could take on Z. All we need is levels. So the opening of more trap chests, yeah, a Holy Sword would be nice, but I think we're, at some point we're going into power overwhelming territory here.
Yeah, and additionally, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself here, we still haven't found a pass yet, too, and so if it's P-None, then the moon's not entirely haunted as we suspect it might be at this point, because you're still going to have to just walk down those empty halls.
And then you have to ask yourself, how much time do you spend searching for a pass that's only going to save you 2.5, 3 minutes? Because if you're spending 2.5 or 3 minutes doing fights to do it, is it really a time save? No.
And Falgran is going to go ahead and do the Liberate Baron Castle. We'll find Golbez and be caught up at least on objectives and pretty close to caught up on key items. Still will have to do the Twin Harp Magnus fight against the Turtle. And Goober did hit Yang with the pan, right? I didn't actually see him do it.
Yeah, he did hit him with the pan.
Okay, so he will also get the package, not that it's going to be relevant to him at all.
eventually, once he gets there, I think he's setting himself up. Looks like Goober is actually going to try some of these bosses in the Feymarch, which is a bold move considering that we know that it's more than just K main. K summon is the obvious choice here, but it could also be K moon as well. Um, but if you got something relatively easy down here, maybe we're looking at the Cecil. Maybe.
Yeah, and if you find a key item here, you can also just now go into the Baron basement too.
Oh, that is a speedy boy, but getting the Cure 4 off, and I think everyone's going to survive it now.
Yeah, that should be a really well-timed life cast there. And now we get to hear about Justice. Well, meanwhile, there's a comedy show going on the other screen.
Golbez is laughing at Cecil's speech about justice is not the only right in this world. It's like, haha, you're right. The other right is awesome power.
Yeah, and Lord Goober didn't even bother to go back and save. He says, I've got this. And that, potentially, if it was a bit scarier, that Moonveil could help with the Mom fight. But it looks like he's just going for it.
That Moonveil was just about the perfect thing, because you have a Cecil that would absolutely benefit from that. It's just a matter of getting that up and going. Yeah, it's not going to be too straightforward. No, it's doable, but
Yes.
Challenging.
Lord Goober could also potentially go check Baron basement now just to see if there's something there. Nope, you were right. It's Tower.
Tower's the logical play. You have, if you're really, really committed to trying to get some more cutlery for your melee attackers, fine. I don't think it's necessary, but two key items here between the trap and the top of tower, absolutely.
And Fallgrams is through the liberation of Baron Castle. We'll shortly get that twin harp.
Our restreamer, Ninja Dave, mentioning in chat, he's hoping it's a K-main trap with the pink tail and the last arm with Vanilla Giant, because Dave hates the pink puffs and he wants to see them suffer, clearly.
It is a very outside chance. Like I think I might have mentioned that K-Trap has less than 1% chance. So if that is like the combo we're facing, it is a spectacularly evil thing that he has rolled.
Dave, let's not get it twisted. Dave is capable of some evil stuff when it comes to rolling seeds. I've seen him roll some absolute whoppers. But that, I'm ready to write off K-Trap. We've seen enough trap chest opens that with no key items that I'm personally willing to write it off. It would be an incredibly low % chance if it was, but Dave, I appreciate your willingness to submit the pink puffs through absolute evil torture on things like this.
Okay, we got Sparkle at Lower Battle, and pretty soon we're going to have another round of music. So let's go ahead and just see who we actually have here sort of manning the tower. We've seen Pale Dim, Plague. We haven't seen Wyvern or Ogopogo yet, I don't think. There he is.
Oh, Wyvern, Gretz. Worth noting, Falgren used a cabin on the outside of this, before the Twin Harp. Not needed. You get a full health refill for free after you complete this.
It's actually kind of worse because now you have to chew through health if you're not magnetized.
Right. So just noted for future, if anyone is watching this back on a restream or watching back the VOD, do not save or do not cabin for doing the Twin Harp spot because you are incentivized to have low health, realistically.
Okay, yeah, and the weights for this were 40% Wyvern, 40% Witchburn, and 20% for Vanilla, and this is a Witchburn. We got the beak taking Cecil out at the beginning.
That does stink a little bit. It does look like we are now reflecting nukes back because, frankly speaking, that's what Wyvern is doing. We are fortunate in that this particular location is pretty slow relative to the party's agility at this point, so we can have kind of multiple moves roll through in between each nuke cast.
I will say one of the few disadvantages with Fu is that he is stuck on 20 agility, so if you're not anchoring with him, you need to find someone who you can get down pretty low just so he'll be a bit faster. Trying to fast anchor a different character and have Fu on your team means he'll be not getting as many opportunities to hit. Okay, and Falgrams is also through the Magnus Cave, and we're about to see what's hidden behind the super cannon.
It's a worthless Luca key. I mean, not worthless. I mean, logically, we knew it was likely there because we do need a logical access to darkness, which I believe was available from the Warp Glitch, which normally would be from the Luca Cave. So at this point, unless it's at one of the summit locations, it is going to be in one of the K Moon locations, which we know now. I think it's leaning more and more towards K Moon.
Yeah, we've only seen the Stealth Cave check as far as summon goes, so it's possible that, or actually no, we did see Moonveil at DKC, so that's 2 out of the 5, and one of them is Bahamut Cave where you're going to be on the moon anyway. So it's probably going to come down to, is it in the basement, is it behind the mom bomb, or are you going to the moon?
Well, I think at this point, from a statistical perspective, the there's three key items we don't have: rat tail, pink tail, legend sword, right? And we've done 2 of the 5 summon checks. I think you check Baron Basement, and if it's a key item, okay, you know it's a summon seed. If it's not, then it's not.
It looks like Lord Goober wants to just go and see what's down the hook route, as looks like he's also still looking for holy swords. Possibly going to check out what's in the shops too. Meanwhile, Falgran is doing an egg grind, which he's at 10 key items. That makes sense.
One thing that is worth that's actually a fantastic shop there. Sirens are available for sale. I was just gonna say, if we need to, we can always steal some sirens, but there are sirens available in the Eblin Cave shop.
That's also where you're going to buy your Bacchus too, it looks like.
Absolutely. It looks fantastic.
There's strength rings and bandanas in the weapon shop, or I'm sorry, the armor shop, and it didn't look like anything especially useful in the weapon shop.
No, nothing particularly useful. Looks like Goober's... just, hey, buy a stack of 20 blinds.
Going to have one heck of a party. Yeah, and meanwhile, Falgrans is doing his tower checks. Did end up getting that tower key, and will also learn the same things that Lord Goober has learned.
Yeah, at this time, the answer we are fairly certain is on the moon. So really, it's going to be first one to the moon wins. There are several checks that we can make on the moon. Mura, Masa, Crystal Sword, White Spear, and of course Ribbon Room. So 5 checks, 6 total locations. And it does look like Lord Goober is going to the moon.
With 3 key items, even if it was actually case summon, you'd probably still need the Bahamut Cave.
Yeah, but I think at this point, if I have checked any other summon location and got a Zonk, I think I'm probably banking on a Zonk at this point, where I'm just focused on the caveman. That's just me, how I would run it. But I am not an expert on mystery seed runs at all. But that's kind of how I would run it. I've already checked at least one summon location, got a Zonk. Okay, let's focus on the stuff that I know hasn't been checked yet.
Would you at least check the cave, like face check Cave of Bahamut, just to see if it's a free boss there?
Honestly, I don't know. Part of me is if I'm confident in my levels that I'm currently at, I think I just want to go.
No, that's fair. I'm just figuring, like, if you go Cave Bahamut and you find KQ Evelyn there, because I don't think we've seen them yet, that just gets something out of the way, gets a few more levels. If you were worried about it, it's not a particularly hard thing to go and check that, but it does make sense to just go straight down LST at this point.
Hairdryer check, of course, because everyone needs a good hairdryer check. I do really like this check because it's some fantastic experience, no matter what level you're at, to be able to get you up, quite a bit high. and it's
Yeah.
very fast.
And it's not, if you know what you're doing, it's not a very hard check. And I think Lord Goober is still looking for swords.
I mean, he found the Drain Spear, which is a fantastic dart at this point in time, just not exactly what you're looking for.
I think he's still on defense sword for Cecil. Is that correct?
That is correct. Both runners have found nothing better than the defense sword for Cecil. The strange thing is, we have seen Artemis arrows, which are a T7, which means we know there's tier 7 gear that is a part of the seed, just no holy swords. Which is, as you recall, the exact prediction that I made when I saw duplicate Cecil. I was like, nope, no holy swords. We're done.
I'm not sure if this is going to be relevant at this point, but if they do find a legend sword, there is a 70% chance of having Supersmith on for this seed.
And here is a cane for Lord Goober. I think we're set on party. Yeah.
Yeah, like at this point, that it wouldn't really make much sense to take anyone else. And it also looks like Lord Goober is going to go bottom up instead of top down for checking LST, or maybe middle outwards and starting with the ribbon room.
That is kind of an interesting strategy. You are one key item from go mode. The traditional logic in the community is just do the nearest thing because you never know. It does look like we're going to be cracking a couple eggs as well for the Warlock rides.
I'm kind of surprised that Lord Goober's not also just opening LST chests to keep on finding the sword, but maybe he's given up at this point.
Well, we know the trap chests are shuffled a little bit, and I tell you what, there is nothing like a Bimmy and Jimmy to surprise show up and completely wreck whatever plans that you might have. So, from a safety perspective, even at bare minimum, I can understand not opening any more treasure chests.
I have an evil question. I don't think we've seen the gauntlet yet. And there's definitely a couple places up here you don't want to run into a gauntlet.
I'm listening intently, waiting for a question.
So do you think we're going to see a gauntlet?
I would love to see a gauntlet, and I think our Restream team would love to see a gauntlet. And I think our chat would love to see a gauntlet. Which spot though? So here's the debate that I've always had with Engidate, which is the Restream, our wonderful Restreamer. By the way, also shout out Warlink. I've mentioned Dave before, so shout out to Warlink as well, doing the tracking. Our behind the scenes group, great team. But back to the point. Which is the worst spot for the alt gauntlet? Is it at the Masamune altar with the evil masks, or is it at Crystal Sword altar with the floating eye and the trickers?
So the only moon gauntlet I think I've actually gotten through in one piece was a White Spear gauntlet. I think the few times I've encountered Massive Gauntlet, I just turned around and said no. And if it was required, I said, no, I'm not finishing this seed. So it's one thing I really do need to learn how to do, is just because it has shown up quite often. I don't know much about Crystal Sword Gauntlet, but I've heard people with horror stories about it.
Okay, so they're correcting me. The triggers are not at the Crystal Sword; they are at the White Spear Ribbon Room. But yeah, it's like the one floating eye, which has a bajillion HP, and then the triggers and yeah, they're just bad. It's bad.
I didn't really have too much trouble with the trickers at the White Spear Gauntlet, just because I was not tricked by them into trying something that you should not try. Uh, Honestly, the dragons before that were a lot more of an issue, but I can see how if you're not prepared and you say, "Oh, they're telling me how to beat them," that's very friendly. Um, Trickers can be a bit of annoying.
It's mostly just it's a lot of HP to chew through. And at the end of the day, yes, this is a puzzle. Yes, we have a lot of fun here. This is a speed run. At the end of the day, we are trying to go fast, and chewing through a bunch of HP is less than ideal.
But I think that more like to the point of the question, pretty much any Moon Gauntlet is going to be additional time that you're just going to have to get through if it's required. Oh, and Lord Goober is, in fact, checking some of the trap chests on the LSD, so we do know he is still on the hunt.
Been doing a great job of cruising at this point, just all the enemies. And here is a behemoth fight.
Yeah, as long as you know how to tackle them, behemoths aren't the worst thing to be fighting. If you go in unprepared, like the first time that I encountered them, it's a totally different story. But if you know what you're doing, the behemoths are not a very terrible thing to run into. And we do have some people in chat calling for casting white on the behemoth.
I agree. We should absolutely cast white on the behemoth.
Fulgran is also skipping the Myrrh spot and headed down towards either Ribbon Room or Masa or possibly Crystal Sword.
So at this point, it does appear, Lord Goober has all the levels necessary. Even if he didn't want to nerf any big bangs, the party is incredibly well set up to withstand just about everything. Fulgran, I think, is behind somewhat in the levels, has not taken quite as many fights as Lord Goober has, but still reasonably well leveled up to be able to handle things.
Okay, and here is our first moon check, I guess, the Ribbon Room. And that's free.
Water Hag, absolutely free. Although it's pretty punchy.
It is, but this is probably one of the best spots to get Water Hag, just because as long as you have free bosses, just because otherwise you're chewing through a lot of health at this spot.
And we have side-by-side mirror matches now, where Fulgran and Lord Goober are both trying to complete their Water Hag fight here in the Ribbon Room.
That was Rat Tail and Pass.
I am save scumming right now. I am saving and I am save scumming and turning that rat tail in right now.
Yeah, and so that is I believe that does count for double key item check on the ribbon room because that I think that is P key.
And neither of them are going to do it. Oh my gosh. I love a good save scum. Save here, you go turn in the rat tail. If it ends up leading to the pink tail, fantastic. You get a nice lead on the opponent. If not, you just reset out and immediately come right back up here.
Looks like Fallgrand's tried doing the reflect strategy against elements. Uh, I think that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, Lord Goober probably has enough levels to just get through this.
Certainly would be what I recommend. Falgren, again, has the levels necessary to take on Zeramus right at the moment, but certainly has quite a few, and both of them complete. Oh, hi. Dathis! Where you at, Dathis? I'm sensing a scoop of vanilla.
That feels like it might be the first like really vanilla thing we've seen though.
It's true. You know, we have not seen a whole lot of vanilla going on in this seed up to this point in time. With all the different things going on. The white spear, though, yep, that's seeming pretty vanilla right now.
It kind of also feels like Fallgrand has managed to catch up a bit, just because now they're both doing Masa.
I 100% agree. I think Lord Goober has spent more time, I would say, playing it safe, checking all the trap chests, getting the levels right. Certainly his levels are higher and in a better position than Fallgrand. However, that has allowed Fallgrand to make up all the time that he otherwise lost way back at the early part of the game where he took those two wipes in Fabul defense. Uh, that set Fallgren back, but now running neck and neck with Lord Goober.
Yeah, and the Moon bosses have enough experience that it will get Fallgrand where he needs to be as far as Z fights go. I think this is just a case of who's going to handle the Mega Sisters better.
Well, and I would argue that Fallgren, you know, he has the levels to take on Z anyway. Lord Goober does reset and says, you know what, these Magus Sisters are going to be too hard. I have other checks to make. I have a Crystal Sword, and I have a Mura Altar, and frankly speaking, a Rat Tail that I would love to save scum and turn in. I can't believe I'm still ranting about that.
No, I mean that it's a very valid point that it's not that hard to check, and then you can just go back to your save and go back to hunting down the rest of the moon bosses afterwards.
Fallgren is making the attempt, though. I appreciate the attempt. This is a very, very difficult spot. I would honestly say this spot is among the worst for any boss. Magus Sisters in particular, though. Whew.
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough not to have encountered them here at any point, but like every time I've seen other people, it's not been like the best of experiences. And it's also looks like Fallgren is having quite a bit of trouble with it. Yeah, and resets out. So right now, I think both are just going to hope that it's either Rat Tail or Crystal Sword or Mura that has the answer.
I can understand and appreciate that perspective, especially knowing that is really kind of a rough spot. Lord Goober is going to be the first one at this crystal sword. And you mentioned it earlier, here's a Rubicant here. There's still some pretty easy bosses that are still out there. In particular, King Queen Eblin has not shown up yet.
At the same time, I still don't think we've seen Gauntlet just yet, so there's more fun to be had, possibly.
Rubicant here at the Crystal Sword spot, this is not a very high magic attack spot. It's intimidating because Wyvern's here and will blarg all over your face right out the gate, but it's kind of a low magic roll, so nice to see that, both parties are able to handle the Rubicant spot, and chewing through these counters pretty quickly.
Yeah, getting double-digit damage when you've got 4-digit health is usually a very safe feeling. I think really this fight is just going to be like how quickly he can get through his HP. There's like even the glares don't seem to be doing all that much.
No, that Fu ate the glare on Falgren's side. He sneezed and said that tickled.
It also looks like Falgren's not taking any risks with possibly feeding him more health with an ice cast and just sticking to nukes.
Ultimately, I think that's the right play. Nuke still does quite a bit of damage, and it's not worth risking healing everyone. 2 scoops of vanilla. We're sending 2 scoops of vanilla, and there's our holy sword that we've been looking for.
Yeah, he can stop checking the trap chest now. He's got what he needs.
So both runners now with that crystal sword, both of them exited out from the Magus sisters at Massa Altar. Otherwise, it'll be interesting to see what... Okay, so Falgren is also exiting out. It does look like Lord Goober is diving back in for the Mura Altar. We'll see if Falgren follows him.
Yeah, it looks like Falgren is going to go hit Mura.
It is amazing how close these two are at this stage in the race. They are just less than a minute under each other's time.
And we got Dr. Dialogue at Mura. This should be a fairly safe fight. Like, it's not... The health is getting split in 3 ways, and you're already through much harder stuff. And I don't think this is going to take too long. You just gotta get through the dialogue, right?
I mean, he's still pretty punchy, so you can't... It's not completely free. You do have to make sure you get through it, but both runners at this point in time, you look at the HP pools, you look at their levels, we're fine.
It'll be nice getting that Murasami sword, because this is also going to be vanilla, right?
I mean, can't hurt. I think both of our runners would be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Just a sorcerer shirt. We are down to 2 checks. It is the Rat Tail turn in, or it is the Magus Sisters at the Masa altar. Lord Goober's setting up a cabin, so at least going to possibly save up here before.
Yeah, if Rat Tail turns out to be Legend Sword, then you gotta take that Magus fight.
I mean, we haven't completely ruled out summons, but we're pretty sure at this point. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's just not a lot of summons, though.
There's just Cave Value, Baron Basement, and Mom Bomb, I think.
Alright, Goober is going to be showing us the path moving forward. Falgren is diving back in, though.
Okay, so that kind of indicates that Case Summon probably is on.
Yeah, because it has to be. Because we only have one location left, and that is the Masa altar. And we have 2 key items left, the Legend Sword and the Pink Tail. So, yeah, that means... So it could be Cave Value, it could be the King's Spot, or it could be Baron Basement.
You know, I remember back when we started this, there was concerns that we had rolled a lot of really easy check objectives. So it's good to see that we're actually getting some value out of this after all.
You and I say value. Chat says value. Anyone who's running this seed is cursing Enjade up and down the aisle. By the way, Dave, masterpiece of a seed for this one.
Yeah, we got Nope Noodle at Cave Value, so that's even better.
Meanwhile, Falgren is saying, well, it's time to go back to the Magus Sisters.
And we are through the Ogo.
And there it is. Pink Tail.
Now, I will point out that there is a 84% chance that no Adamance is on, so we do still have a slight, like 1 in 6 chance that this turn-in is going to also give you just a little bit more than you well need. This is already so much fun.
We have so much power right now. We have Crystal Sword Cecil. I mean, Edge, I suppose, is a little bit underwhelming, but still can certainly survive Big Bangs. Double Foos. And you want an Adamant at this point?
I mean, it's not a matter of wanting, it's a matter of what we're going to end up with once this turn-in is made. Yeah, I'll take the Masamune in lieu of the adamant armor. That's definitely a acceptable trade-off.
I mean, absolutely, we'll take it. It's useful.
Yeah, and at this point, it's probably safe to say that the Magus Sisters is. It's possible it's legend, but it's also possible that it's just a completely dead check. And it looks like Lord Goober is just going straight into the Z fight. He's already leveled. He's already here. He's good to go.
Absolutely ready to go at this point. I'm a little bit disappointed in chat, though. Chat is not doing their jobs with the memes. There's our tracker Warlink with the Z flags. So the question becomes, what do those Z flags mean? Well, as we mentioned earlier, this is Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. We are a randomizer community for speedrunning. We randomize all the sorts of things. The bosses, the key item locations, the weapons, everything. The one thing that we cannot randomize is the location of the final boss, Zeromus, because someone casting Big Bang at the Antlion Cave is just really, really bad news. So we can't randomize that. So what's the randomizer community to do that wants to randomize everything? Well, when you use the crystal on him, he does reveal his true colors and thus shows us one of more than I've lost track, hundreds of different Z sprites to show out there, curated, of course, by our community. So that Z flag is really intended to ask one question and one question only. Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
And I think there's also a whole host of subsequent questions, such as the cuteness of the butt, the taxability of the butt, things like that are important to know. And we'll find that out very shortly.
I mean, I did say one question and one question alone, but, you know, I guess there's some ancillary questions. It's like 1A, 1B, 1C, you know.
And we did get a gold apple from that Magus Sisters fight.
Wah, 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 wah.
Sluggomus has made an appearance.
I'm not sure I know where that's from off the top of my head, to be honest. If anyone in chat can help us out with where Sluggomus is from.
They're saying Earthworm Gem.
And the fact that Earthworm Jim, a video game about a superhero earthworm, even exists is the most 90s thing ever.
I have fond memories of just how silly that game was.
Oh yeah, it's very good and very fun, but I was really confused when it came out. All right, Fulgran is on the hunt. Does not know, you know, presuming up until this point in time that this is not the right way. However, it is.
Yeah, so this is the rat tail turn in, it looks like.
Yeah, rat tail turn in, so this is not the right answer. It has to go back to the moon to the summon spot for a low percent summon location. Of all the places, I guess there's one other summon that does have the legend sword somewhere.
And this looks like a fairly straightforward fight against Zeromus on Lord Goober's side.
Yep, certainly. We have hybrid strats. We are, you know, Cecil with the crystal sword is zerked up. We have Foos bouncing nukes off reflect, and of course Edge is darting everything. So it is a fantastic run here. Oh no, no Falgren, you okay? What are you doing, Falgren? I thought he was gonna like dive into Z. Like, yeah, surely I have Z already.
We have rocks on Lord Goober's side, so we're almost done.
Crash, boom, bang, and with that nuke, we do have Lord Goober. He does finish.
Looks like we have an official time for Lord Goober is 1 hour 47 minutes 21 seconds, and that is first on Restream, but second he got sniped, but just barely by Blues Eclipse, who had 1 hour 46 minutes and 42 seconds.
Just barely sniped. That was a fantastic race. Definitely a rude seed rolled up by Injade, but GG's Lord Goober. We'll see if he is available for a quick chat. Meanwhile, Falgren is continuing the hunt. Is decided to go back into the Feymarch. We are joined now by Lord Goober, though. GG's.
Ah, I got sniped.
Yeah, that was a tight snipe there, there at the very end, and especially the way the last 30 minutes of that seed went, where I think you were convinced, and we as an audience were convinced that, yeah, sure, it's K Moon, it's K Main K Moon, that's it, right?
Yep, that's exactly what I thought. Till that stupid rat tail gum. And then it's like, pick a value first, then I'm going back to the blue planet. Luckily, that no rope had the stupid pink tail.
Yeah, and we also noticed that you were taking a lot of the trap chests, and we speculated you were just looking for a holy sword.
I was looking for a holy sword or something else for Ed.
Well, you ended up finding both
a way to get
eventually.
an extra little bit of grind in.
How'd you feel about your Z fight? I mean, you had power overwhelming really going in there. I think you were at the mid 60s by the time it was all said and done. What were your thoughts like in the lead up to and then eventually to Zeromus?
As you saw, I nerfed the first one and then didn't even bother. I was just going. Those two were there. I was not thinking about healing at all during that Z fight. That was quite a textbook power overwhelming Z fight.
And we also noticed that you went pretty immediately to Bedward to get the free key item. How excited were you to have like instant treasury access, and how did you feel about that treasury?
That treasury was great for the early game. It had that Bahamut in there, which Iridia carried early in that game. And then having that curse ring in the public treasury was a godsend. You wouldn't believe how much I was going ding 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 for that. That really made that seat go a lot cleaner.
I was going to say, you were given pretty much all the power you needed to, in addition to that early power for Rydia. You know, you ended up with, you know, a Cecil. There were 2 Cecils eventually in the seed, and then double Foos were available. How do you choose when you're given that much power, what power you roll with?
My original plan was going to be Foo. There was just one problem about that. You know what that is, So exactly when I realized what the problem was. Keep eye with them.
Yeah, with C-Buy not turned on, with everything that what it was like, oh, yeah, we can't recover the characters. That's too bad.
Oh, I just looked. You'll love what's just up the spoiler hole. I almost checked. That would have been an absolute free for it. After we're done here, I'm going to go ahead and check and see what that actually is. Because that's like 2 minutes to check that.
Oh, absolutely. But as we get set to wrap up then here, or continue to follow along with Falgren, do you have any other final thoughts about the seed or the Pink Puff League in general? As club season is starting to wind down here, getting ready for another tournament before long.
Yeah, I gotta say, this seed was pretty garbagey at points, but as you saw, I followed the adage of clear the overworld before going underground, and you saw most of my objectives were in that overworld. Let's see, Gomez was at Baron Castle, 2 Sims were at Dot, and then you had the 2 freebies. It was just finding that stupid pigtail, which took forever. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward. I had my power overwhelming, and you saw I eventually pivoted to the double foo. And you saw I only bought a couple sirens. I knew I was going to go to the moon eventually, and the grind there is a lot more efficient. I had the perfect setup for the sort grind. And beyond that, it was just a standard. We're looking for one key item. Let's go check everything we know. And then once we don't know, we check on the next thing. Other than that, good seed. And at this point, I am going to go. I think I'm done because I have to get ready for work for tomorrow.
All right. So thanks for talking to us, and good job on the game.
If I had been just a hair bit faster. I almost had it. Oh, good night.
Good night.
One more GG's to Lord Goober, just finished that race. Meanwhile, Falgren is starting to find the right. I mean, he's going to be given one last clue. This is going to be the Legend Sword that we know is here with the King Queen Evelyn spot in the Baron basement. Unfortunately, we need that pigtail that's up in the Hummock Cave.
Yeah, and while we were talking to Lord Goober, Genobean finished in 3rd with 150.27, and VT Afro finished in 4th with 152.21. So GG's to both of them.
Of course, just a reminder to anyone out there who's watching this and thinking, hey, I could do that. This looks so easy. There's still some time in the various community races, including in the Pink Puff League, to join us and continue to hang out with us in the Discord through the final few weeks of our club season. Join us over here on the Discord if you have any questions or just want to hang out. It really is one of the best communities that is on the internet, and I say that with zero hesitation and with all sincerity. There are millions upon billions of places you can go onto the internet to hang out. This is one of the best places in online communities that exists out there, bar none. So feel free to join us if that's your thing.
Yeah, I've recently joined just a few months ago, and it's been great. Everyone's been very supportive, very helpful, and put up with some of my really inane questions at times. So I'm really, just happy to have found this place. And it looks like Falgran has found out that he has to head back to the moon now.
Yep, I think he's figured out the puzzle. He has the legend sword and says, "Oh, oh no." So is found the key to the puzzle. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for Falgran that he ended up trying to go back to that Mega Sister fight instead of uh, just taking the chance on the summons. And it turns out the summons were the answer.
Well, and we have a phrase in this community and in many other online speedrunning community, randomizer communities, and it's just rando's gonna rando. There are some seeds that come out and you're gonna feel like you played them perfectly, and you're gonna run through, and you're gonna feel like a genius by the end of it because everything seems to lay out in front of you. And then there's going to be other seeds like today where you check like 18 of 18 other locations. You like literally everything else under the moon is already done. Every boss is done, and you're like, well, I guess it's in the last location. It happens sometimes, and that's something that you kind of have to accept with any sort of randomizer game. You can play the percentages and try to get your best possible outcome. But at the end of the day, a randomizer is still a randomizer. And sometimes it'll play a trick on you and you're going to feel bad about it. And you just can't take it personally because that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, and we've had two more finishers off screen. Skyster in 5th with 155.58, and Sox in 6th place with 157.23. GG's to them both. And Falgran is now through the Ogo and will get his answer.
So, yep, there's the pink tail. So yeah, we will be going back down to Earth, turning that in, and then we're gonna be on to a pretty quick Z fight because I think Falgren's levels are just about the same as Lord Goober's, and that was no time at all.
Yeah, this is just a power overwhelming hybrid Z fight. It shouldn't be anything terribly threatening or scary. It's just going to be go in, Zerk who you need to, reflect who you need to, and throw some nukes, and then you're done.
I mean, there's one thing to say, there's different keys to beating every bosses, but levels tops everything. And given our power, this is going to be pretty straightforward.
I think the only difference is that Falgran doesn't have that second foo, but again, as you said, levels trump everything else, so it shouldn't be a problem. I do think that very sneaky case summon was probably one of the major deciding factors for this seed, though.
Absolutely. The summons. Oh god, the earlier going through the summons, the fact that only two of the summon locations had a key item, and only really one of the moon bosses had a key item as well in the rat tail. When you think about that, that's 3 out of 10. Like, this was a K main, K summon, K moon. And we were thinking there for the longest period of time, hey, this looks like a K main only seed.
Yeah, it wasn't until we started getting zonks that it was a clue that there was something else going on. And once again, we're back at the Sluggimus fight coming up shortly. And while this is going on, I think we do have a few more events coming up in the next couple days. So I think there's a community race tomorrow, and then another the community race, and then another club race on Saturday. I'm not sure if there's what details we have for those are.
Well, I can talk about the community race on Saturday because that's my club race. That's the Mom Spaghetti Club doing a live race this Saturday at 3 p.m. It is a flag set that is designed to be very, very fast and keep you on your toes. Most seeds this club season have been around 20 to 30 minutes. Not all of them. You know, you have to leave enough time and prepare yourself for an hour-long seed, but nothing is going to last 2 hours. An hour long is kind of maximum time range is what we're planning on. The community race tomorrow, though, is going to be at 10 o'clock Eastern on Free Enterprise 2, not our home channel here, but Free Enterprise 2. And if I'm checking here, those flag sets are, looks like it is Lunar Racing Club. Let me see. Quest, Ribbon Altar, Masamune Altar, and 2 random. Required all, Wind Crystal, K-Main, Moon Summon, I'm safe. I do not know what the theme is, but it does look to be a fairly standard flag set for tomorrow evening. Remember that it's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern over on the Free Enterprise 2 channel. Or, you know, join us over on the Discord and maybe run it yourself. Meanwhile, it does look like Falgren is just setting up Zerks, not really doing hybrid strats, going to try to nerf the Big Bang using the Crystal.
Okay, so that's the second Big Bang, I think.
The second Big Bang, I think he's going to be pushed through. Does get the nerf though. That was an impressive nerf of the Big Bang. Oh, even skips media phase entirely. So Crash Boom Bang, Falgren does complete the scene.
GG's Falgren. We had 2 other finishers. Neurocad in 7th place with 2:01.58. Rekka 89 in 9th with a time of 2:03.13. And Falgren is our 9th place finisher, second on stream. Official time is going to be 2:05.56.
GG's Falgren. We'll see if he wants to step into the first. are joined by Falgran. GG's on that win, or on that race.
Oh, thank you. I 110% had convinced myself I had did Bahamut my first pass.
And we are joined by Falgran. GG's on
Mystery seeds. They're fun.
And about what time did you sort of figure out that it was also going to be a K summon thing? Because a lot of people seem to just get zonks on a few summon checks like the Self Cave and then just focus on the moon.
Hard to say. I was just kind of following the long trail of key items I was getting. You know, the darkness, the earth crystal, and the magma key all at the same time kind of gave me at least enough hard checks where I didn't think much until towards the end, where I completely blanked on Bahamut and
And what was sort of like your thoughts for the early game? Like, what was your plan going into this?
my plan was to check shops just to make sure that it wasn't a shop-based flag. Check chests, see what I was getting out of that, which paid off with a couple early power shirts. Characters, obviously. Second I saw Fu at Baron Inn, I knew at least it was going to be at least some good characters there. And key items. And once I got enough characters, obviously, the second I found out there was 4, I kind of shifted my plans around a little bit. But my second thought was to do a couple early key item checks and then go check for some easy trap chests to see if there were any key items hiding in there. So, juggling a lot.
No, absolutely. And, you know, this was one of those seeds we were talking about it earlier with Lord Goober that this seed gave you all the power you really kind of wanted. There were 2 Cecils available, there were 2 Foos available, certainly lots of summons and an early Rydia. So it wasn't an issue of power or challenging bosses. It was just kind of finding the breadcrumbs, right?
Yeah, it was the objectives was a wonderful range of I need to find, you know, multiple key items all at once. I need to find Sid, which I really appreciate Zot giving me 2 of them. That was very, very nice of it. And finding Golbez. So trying to solidify how many checks I was doing. I had started to go underground. I did the magma key and then realized I probably should do Zot for the 2 characters and the 2 bosses, which had paid off for the Sids.
And you said earlier that you kind of forgot about the Cave Bahamut. Is that why you went back into the Megas fight for the second time at Masa Altar?
Mostly that was just I was getting trounced and I had forgotten I had the curse ring sitting there. Once I had the curse ring and turned down the battle speed a little bit, that fight was way more manageable. I had just decided to go roundabout and go check some potentially easier checks. I mean, I'll take a vanilla crystal sword any day of the week.
All right. Do you have any other questions, Vitasia?
No, I was just gonna ask Falgren, any other final thoughts before we let you get going for the rest of your night?
Well, my only regret is, and he will, I'm sure, remind me of this at some point. My wonderful brother Raquette did his first live race today, and I said my only goal was to beat him, and unfortunately, I came right behind him. So, let that be a lesson. Be careful what you say and be careful what you wish for. other than that, thank you guys for all the work you've done, as always.
Well, and thank you for putting on one heck of a show with this particular seed.
Not a problem. Thank you.
And with that, that is another amazing Thursday night community club showcase here for the free enterprise community, the Pink Puff League. Lord Goober and Fallgran, make sure to give them both a follow here on Twitch if you want to support them. Also want to give a shout out to our wonderful team behind the scenes, Warlink for his tracking, Enjadave for the restream and rolling up this wonderful seed. And of course, one last shout out to my co-commentator, Joker Mage. First time on the mic. How do you feel after your first time on the mic? Was it as bad as you thought, or is it easier, or what you thinking?
I'm going to have to say it's actually a bit easier than I was expecting. I was somewhat nervous, but fortunately, I got to be paired with a really great commentator. So it was a lot easier than I was fearing.
Oh, well, all shucks, sir. I appreciate that. But you're not completely out of free enterprise tonight. We will be raiding over to Tallgrant if everyone sticks around. Tallgrant is playing a Film Friends async with some other folks. So be sure not to spoil this race as we go raiding. But otherwise, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next race. Have a great rest of your night.